Hello and welcome to Nobody E-Noon's Racial Trivia series, where we focus on a particular race from the Warcraft universe and discuss both its history and any alteration in the World of Warcraft game by Blizzard. Today's racial trivia is on the Green Dragonflight, which is ruled by their dreaming aspect, Ysera. The Green Flight is a flight that is graceful as well as enchanted. The ethereal green dragons live only to serve the forces of nature and uphold the balance between mortal creatures and the ever-changing world. The Green Dragonflight holds a special love for the Night Elves and their druids, aiding them on more than one occasion. Though most green dragons live within the mystical dimension known as the Emerald Dream, a few of these graceful creatures still roam the shadowy paths of Ashenvale Forest. They are very shy, secretive, and reclusive, keeping to themselves unless confronting an immense threat, at which point the powers of the Greens are truly shown. The Green Dragonflight hosts a wide variety of draconic kind. This of course includes green worms, green dragons, green drakes, green whelps, green dragon spawns, and green dragonids. Today, we'll be looking at Warcraft RPG, Shadow and Light, page 97 through 99, under Ysera the Dreamer. Ysera, the Queen of Dreams, is one of the three great dragons who fought against the demons during the War of the Ancients. It was partly this war that convinced her to leave Azeroth and make her home in the unspoiled Emerald Dream. From this plane, she observes Azeroth, but rarely interacts with its people. She does intervene when events require her presence, such as during Cross's effort to defeat Deathwing's scheme to conquer the world. Ysera is a guardian of nature and absolute shepherd of all that exists within her home plane. She is a highly intelligent, virtuous being who detests combat but does not shy away from doing battle where necessary. She rarely travels outside of the Emerald Dream, and generally keeps to herself, paying little attention to the affairs of Azeroth. When she does visit the world, she almost always does so in a shape-changed form, so she will not be recognized. Ysera is the absolute ruler of the Emerald Dream. As such, most druids of the wild venerate her, and even if some do not treat her as a deity, she is at least acknowledged as one of the greatest paragons of nature in existence. She often visits her followers and allies in dreams, although these dreams are not always fully understood. She is a keeper of great knowledge, but does not give up her secrets easily, unless the need is great. This next passage can be found in Warcraft RPG, Manual of Monsters, page 35 through 36. Under Green Dragon. The dragon has translucent, jewel-like scales that shine with a feint of green light. Its eyes are glowing orbs of green-gold light, with no pupils or irises. Its sinuous and shining form flies through the air as if swimming through water. Under Description. Green dragons are rare creatures, not often seen on the physical plane. They are creatures of dream and make their home on the plane in the Emerald Dream. This plane is not just a place of dream crafting, but an immense, verdant realm of unspoiled paradise. Other flights often call greens brothers and sisters of dream in respect to the realm from which they hail. Under Green Dragon Society. Green dragons are reclusive. They spend their time in the Emerald Dream, interacting with creatures of myth and illusion. When they venture to the physical world, they act as though it is the illusion, and the realm from which they hail is the only source of reality. The green dragons owe their existence to the Queen of Dreams, the aspect Ysera, a green dragon of massive size and elegance. She is a guardian of nature as well as ambition and imagination. She values these qualities both in her flight and in the mortal races, and green dragons do their best to exemplify her virtues. Accepted knowledge says that the greens are the most numerous of all the flights, though they are the least accessible. They are disinterested in most events on the physical world, and must be roused by their earthbound cousins to take notice of even the largest events on Azeroth. Green Dragon Society is peaceful and intuitive. Greens spend time in contemplation and the study of philosophy and dreams. They are very intelligent creatures, ferreting out the mysteries of creation and life, but keeping all such secrets hidden within the Emerald Dream. And finally, under combat. Green dragons have no enemies in the Emerald Dream, but they know that the world of Azeroth is not as lucky or as peaceful. They are capable of fighting, but choose not to if there is any option other than their own death. If conflict is unavoidable, they try to neutralize foes with their breath weapon and leave the area. Some consider greens to be pacifists or weaklings. Those who have roused a green to combat fast learn the error of this opinion. After all, dreams and nightmares are not so very different. So the culture of the Green Dragonflight is exceptionally reclusive. While the greens are the most populous flight left on Azeroth, they are also the most difficult to find in the mortal realm. Green dragons are creatures of the Emerald Dream, the ethereal dream world that all life is a part of, and they spend the vast majority of their lives within it. Time is truly meaningless inside the Emerald Dream, and as a result, the Green Dragonflight is extremely long-lived. Ysera's consorts, in particular, almost never emerge, and are effectively immortal. Other flights, as stated above, often call greens brothers and sisters of dream, in respect to the realm from which they hail. The Green Flight watches over nature, often assisted by the Night Elven Druids. Many Night Elves form such a close bond with the Green Flight, they become Dragonsworn. Dragonsworn of other races are believed to exist, but are rarely seen. The dragons and druids work closely together within the dream, where they can control the flow and ebb of nature, and influence the ever-changing balance it takes. As a result of Ysera's charge, the greens guard the great trees, and can simultaneously see both the landscape of Azeroth and the corresponding dreamscape. This enchanted vision, known as dream sight, allows green dragons to perceive their surroundings with perfect clarity, even through closed eyes. The Green Dragonflight is a very quiet and peaceful, meditative society. Nearly all the greens spend their time in quiet contemplation, seeking to better understand the purposes of life, the importance of balance, the mysteries of nature, the power of philosophy, the needs for restoration, and the significance of influence. Greens are, like the other flights, highly intelligent, and are always striving to learn more about the world they were entrusted to protect. The greens are constantly learning and questioning about the mysteries of creation and life, though they keep all these secrets to their own flight. The greens are a surprisingly swift flight, moving fast, often teleporting through the dream to wherever their thoughts lead. As a result, the greens are the least interested about happenings in the mortal realm, and often must have any major events brought to their attention by the dragons of other flights. When they venture to the physical world, they often appear as an illusion and have ethereal forms, or not physically at all. Green dragons' names may sometimes end with us for male and Ra for female. Some green dragon names are derived from subjects related to sleep. When taking humanoid form, green dragons most often choose Night Elven or High Elven forms. The history of the Green Dragons begins with the Titans. Before the Titans departed Azeroth, they charged the dragons with the task of watching over it. See my previous video, The Charge of the Dragons, under Warcraft History and Lore. Aenar, the Titan patron of all life, and empowered Ysera with nature's influence, and charged her to protect the world with her sister Alexstrasza. This age would be known as the Age of Dragons, and would end with a catastrophe that would change the world forever. Prior to the War of the Ancients, Neltharion was driven mad by the whisperings of the old gods, and led his flight in a massive coup to kill the other aspects, and to control the world. When Ysera and her highborn summoned the demons to Azeroth, Neltharion was granted his opportunity. The Greens and other flights sought a way to push back the Burning Legion, and Neltharion presented them with the incredibly powerful weapon which he had forged to deter the demons with. The Demon Soul, also known as the Dragon Soul. This powerful weapon required all of the aspects to empower this device with a portion of their own power. After doing so, the Green Dragonflight joined the others in the battle against the demons, and the Black Aspect unleashed the Dragon Soul's powers with devastating effects on the Burning Legion. He then used this opportunity to attack the Night Elven defenders. The other flights were horrified at his sudden betrayal and rushed to stop the Mad Aspect, but they were subjugated instantly thanks to the powers they placed in Neltharion's claw. Malagos and his flight were able to break free and attempted to stop the Black Leviathan and destroy the Demon Soul, but they failed to do so and were nearly driven to extinction. Neltharion decimated the Blue Dragonflight and banished the Reds, Greens, and Bronzes from the battle. Following this betrayal, the surviving Red, Green, and Bronze dragons secluded themselves, hoping to recover from the Dragon Soul's powers. Immediately after the Sundering, Alexstrasza, Ysera, and Nosdormu placed an enchantment upon the Demon Soul so that no dragon could ever wield it again, and later hid the foul disc deep beneath the earth of Azeroth. The trio would later visit the Night Elf survivors and presented them with a gift. Alexstrasza planted the colossal tree Nordrasil within the new Well of Eternity. Both Ysera and Nosdormu placed equally powerful blessings and enchantments upon it. Ysera bound Nordrasil to her realm, the Emerald Dream, along with the Night Elven men, who would predominantly become the Druids of their race. As part of the pact, the Druids agreed to sleep for centuries at a time so that their spirits could roam the infinite paths of the Emerald Dream alongside the Green Flight. Though the Druids were grieved at the prospect of losing so many years of their lives to hibernation, they selflessly agreed to uphold their bargain with Ysera. The Greens, with the Druids' help, maintained their posts through the long millennia that followed. Green Dragonflight forces were stationed at the Great Trees, defending the portals to the Emerald Dream, where they remain to this day. One of these trees, found in Crystal Song Forest in Northrend, at some point had 12 green dragons guarding the portal there, nesting in the tree's branches and swooping down to intercept visitors. One particular brood of Ysera's were closely allied with the Night Elves of the Azuremist Isles, whom were ruled by Prince Torith. Ysera kindly allowed the Night Elves to ride her children into battle, and they were known as the Great Dragon Riders of Loratharon. Ysera's benevolence, however, raised the ire of Deathwing, who became incensed that lesser beings who would dare to ride his kind into battle, and he launched one of the first great attacks in the soon-to-be Dragon Wars against Wormscar Island, where the Dragon Riders slept. The Blacks, including Razormaw, a lieutenant of Deathwing, mercilessly slaughtered the Kaldori. The Greens rose up to protect their allies, but were unsuccessful. Not one Dragon Rider was spared, though many Blacks, including Razormaw, also perished in this battle. The skeletons and spirits of the murdered Greens still littered the small island, and it wasn't long after this that the war between the flights ignited across the face of Azeroth. The drawn-out war between the Black Dragonflight and the other flights decimated the species. Though the Green Flight was more fortunate than the others, and they remained the most populous of dragons afterwards, the Dragonflights hunted the Blacks nearly to the brink of extinction, but were greatly weakened by their sacrifice to the Demon Soul. Ultimately, the Blacks were nearly wiped out. The tragic war between the flights brought the Age of Dragons crashing down. 1,000 years prior to the opening of the Dark Portal, the Green Dragons also lent their aid to the Night Elves and the Bronze Dragons during the War of the Shifting Sands. Led by Marithra of the Dream, child of the Ysera, the Greens fought the Silithid and their Karaji masters furiously and ultimately helped push them back to their city, where they were sealed away from the world. The dragons suffered minor casualties. However, like with Alexstrasza, the progeny of the Ysera, Marithra, was until recently believed lost, having charged deep into Ahn'Qiraj during the final push. After the war, a shard of the Scepter of the Shifting Sands was entrusted to the green worm Uranicus by Anachronos the Bronze. The Green Dragons were well aware of the terrifying blood god Hyjal the Soul Flayer, and made every effort to ensure his summoning was thwarted once the jungle trolls exiled his followers. Their attention was shifted immediately upon this new imminent threat. The exiled priests of the Garabashi, servants of the blood god Hyjal the Soul Flayer, found their way into the Swamp of Sorrows and erected a great temple in his name, hidden deep within the swamp. There, they believed they could prepare for his arrival into the physical world, undetected or disturbed, and would use the opportunity to take revenge upon the jungle troll tribes. The great dragon aspect, Ysera, however, was well aware of the Atali's plans and moved swiftly to intercept them. With her great power, she smashed the temple far beneath the marshes, sinking it and drowning the followers within. Ysera spared no expense to make sure the Atali were truly dead, sending her own flight into the temple to kill those who may have survived, and to guard the temple in case Hyjal was truly summoned. For 1,000 years, the temple has been known as the Sunken Temple, or the Lost Temple. The great emerald worm Uranicus, who was dispatched to deal with the surviving Atali's priest, along with his brother Etherius and a legion of green dragonkin, can still be found guarding the temple from any intruders, as well as the priest. To this day, the temple's drowned ruins are guarded by the green dragons, who prevent anyone from getting in or out. During the Second War, the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza was captured by the Orcish horde. While deeply concerned, Ysera did not immediately act to save her sister. The reason for this still remains a mystery, though it may have been due to Nosdormu's influence of letting the mortals play out their destinies. Eventually, she was approached by Kralistras, Alexstrasza's youngest consort. Kralistras had pleaded for assistance, but had been turned down countless times by Ysera's consorts. Eventually, Kralistras found a way to speak with the Lady of the Dream directly, and Ysera agreed to do what she could in assisting to free the Red Aspect. Ysera then spoke with Malygos and Nosdormu, and convinced them to act as well. During the final battle, known as the Battle of Grim Batol, the Demon Soul was destroyed, and Ysera and the other dragons were restored to their full power. Deathwing, who had masterminded the entire event, was chased off by the newly restored aspects. Following the Battle of Grim Batol and the restoration of their power, Ysera and her agents continued to uphold the pact she made with the Titan Aenar to safeguard Azeroth, taking a somewhat more active role in the world, giving a more careful watch, and acting with greater haste than the Green Flight previously has. Ultimately, though, their duties in the Emerald Dream continued to take precedence over all else. The Green Dragonflight was nearly absent from the entire battle against the Second Coming of the Legion, also known as the Third War. The mortal races banded together and overcame Archimonde at the Battle of Mount Hyjal. In the aftermath, Green Dragon Guardians were stationed at Hyjal's summit, where they, along with the Reds, Blues, and Bronzes, guard the World Tree from another attack by the remnants of the Burning Legion in Dark Whisper Gorge. In addition, Green and Red Dragons were sent to Sunwell Grove to investigate and guard the remains of the Sunwell. Kralastras would take it upon himself to gather the remaining energy of the well and transformed it into a living avatar in the form of Anvina Teague. A new threat has recently appeared within the Emerald Dream, known as the Emerald Nightmare, or simply as the Nightmare. It is a vicious dream storm that twists and distorts everything it touches as it travels and grows throughout the dreamscape. The origins of the nightmare are not fully known, though many suspect the old gods to yet again be behind this malefic evil. Others blame the dreamscape's corruption upon the blood god Hyjal the Soul Flayer, whom has grown resentful of the Green Flight. Though Xavius did not create the nightmare, it is known that he did manage to rule over it as the Nightmare Lord. The tranquility of the Emerald Dream, and thus Azeroth, is at stake, as everything the nightmare touches becomes wild and corrupt, including the Green Dragons and Dragonkin themselves. Ysera and her flight fight this new evil alongside Malfurion and Cenarius, while trying to avoid falling prey to it. In World of Warcraft, at the Temple of Atal Hakar, the Green Brood sent by Ysera under the leadership of Uranicus have been taken by the Nightmare's madness. The temple was used by the followers of Hakar, the Atali's priests, and the temple was the intended site for the Soul Flayer to return in the mortal realm. The great dragon aspect Ysera sent her flight, led by Uranicus and Aetherius, to guard the temple and prevent anyone from escaping or entering it. However, soon after arriving, Uranicus, having underestimated Hakar, fell prey to the corruption consuming the Emerald Dream. Aetherius escaped and can now be found nearby in the Swamp of Sorrows, searching for adventurers willing to free his brother. Other green dragons have fallen prey to the nightmare and have become twisted and disfigured as well as having lost their sanity. The dragons of nightmare, consisting of Emerus, Lethon, Terrar, and Yasadri, now threaten the balance of nature and have spotted on the mortal plains near the great trees, along with other hostile dragonkin, mercilessly attacking any who come near. The great trees hold the entrances to the fabled Emerald Dream and can be found in Twilight Grove and Duskwood, Dreambow and Feralos, Seradane in the Hinterlands, and Bow Shadow and Ashenvale. Marithra, thought to have been lost during the War of the Shifting Sands, was recently found to be alive inside Ahn'Qiraj as a slave of Cthulhu, along with Kalistras and Aragos. The Dark Master of Ahn'Qiraj used the tortured dragons to empower his new creation, Moem, and the other Obsidian Destroyers. Vethsura came to Ahn'Qiraj after sensing her trapped brethren within, but dares not travel into the temple, from fear of falling under the old god's control. In Wrath of the Lich King, the Blue Dragonflight in their militaristic campaign laid siege to Wyrmrest Temple and the Dragonblight. The remaining Dragonflights formed the Wyrmrest Accord, an alliance defending the temple against the Blue Flight. The Green Dragonflight sent representatives to aid defense of the temple, led by their ambassador, Lord Aetherius. Recently, the Undead Scourge has laid siege to the surrounding 5 dragon shrines in an effort to raise terrifying new variations of undead dragons. Due to a misunderstanding by Ysera, the guardians at the Emerald Dragon Shrine have become hostile to all outsiders. Ysera, the guard and keeper, hopes to restore balance to the Dragon Shrine so that it may defend itself against the Lich King. In Cataclysm, the Green Dragonflight has attempted to prevent Ragnaros' attack on Mount Hyjal. The green aspect Ysera also came to assist against Ragnaros' forces herself, personally seeing his defeat. And this more or less sums up the Green Dragonflight. Blizzard has kept the Green Dragonflight more consistent than any of the others, changing very little since its formation and its creation. Throughout the progression of the Warcraft series and the World of Warcraft continuation, the Green Dragons have kept their appearance, moral convictions, dedication to their cause, and their overall idealistic natures, continuing to view the world from afar in the Emerald Dream, being relatively peaceful and distant. As dragons, they are incredibly wise and mysterious. However, the one thing that Blizzard did change with the Green Dragonflight was its involvement with the Jungle Troll lore, which was changed dramatically for the patch for Zul'Gurub. I can't really go into too much detail on this matter, other than saying that Blizzard altered the Jungle Troll lore, and by adding the Green Dragons into it, they effectively altered the Green Dragon's lore as well. I will elaborate on this at a later time when I do the racial lore on the Jungle Trolls. The Green Dragonflight are very peaceful when it comes to its involvement with the world of Azeroth, preferring to stay away from the conflicts that continuously plague the world. However, that is not to say they are not aggressive or hostile. Should any individual encroach into a green dragon's brooding grounds or home, intentionally or unintentionally, they will be attacked instantly with extreme prejudice. This is likely due to the fact that Ysera protects her flight and takes special precaution to do so, taking absolutely no chances, especially after what happened to her sister Alexstrasza and the orcs during the Second War. The Green Dragons, however, will assist and aid the mortal races of the world if they feel the threat is significant, and they will assist their allies, the Night Elf Druids. This is not to say mortals cannot be dragonsworn into the Green Flight, or that winning their loyalty is unattainable. If one should gain the loyalty of the Green Flight, the Greens will assist them and are exceptionally loyal to that individual. However, proving oneself to the Green Flight is never a simple task. The Green Dragonflight is rather distant from the world, as they are nearly always involved with the Emerald Dream and the events that happen in the dream world. They have unlocked many of the secrets pertaining to nature and life, but they refuse to let any of the other flights learn of these secrets. They are the most populous flight due to this fact, and spend most of their time trying to learn more about the identity and purposes of the creators. Much like the Bronze Flight, the Greens are highly philosophical and know many secrets. However, unlike the Bronzes, that watch over and protect the time streams and destiny itself, it is the Greens who watch over nature and monitor its growth. The Greens are so peaceful and distant from the world, many other races have mocked them for being cowards and pacifists, willing to let the other flights perish so long as their own could live on. There's really so much that could be said about the Greens. I don't believe I could really do them justice. They are quiet and independent, mysterious and elegant, beautiful and terrifying, peaceful and vicious. If there was anything that could truly sum up the entirety of the Green Flight, it would be that the Greens hold the protection and survival of nature and growth above all else. Unlike her sister, who is charged with protecting life, Ysera was charged with protecting nature itself. The Greens would be the first ones to sit back in the shadows and allow the mortal races to destroy themselves in their carnal rage and lust for war, so they could heal the land of their scars. Though the Greens do not harbor hatred of the mortal races and would lead them down the path of peace, they know all too well the treachery the lower races possess, and will not subject themselves as easy prey. Though beautiful, peaceful, and gracious, many mortals have come to know the Greens as terrifying monsters of nightmares. And this concludes the trivia of the Green Dragonflight. Thank you for watching today's episode. If you want to see more episodes and comparisons, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to message me. Also, don't forget about our Facebook page that is up and running. The link to that is in the About box. Until next time, I will see you on the next episode.